What's good? What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm according to Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion Pius Lobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. And I can't get my fucking words right one way or another. But Voodoo, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It is my pleasure and honor to be here with the one and only 8 a day Woods. All day, every day, non-stop. Let's go.
Let's go, man. It's been a crazy day, week, and what have you. Did another run on the After 83 Weeks podcast. Unfortunately, George Hermosa and the great George Hermosa, the great Christy Olson weren't able to join us this weekend. Christy's moved to parts unknown, and George Hermosa was doing George Hermosa things. So, unfortunately for those who were in attendance, it was me and the equally great Steve Kaufman chatting it up with the WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's up, man. That's what's
Yeah.
up. I
Yeah.
mean, when we're rubbing shoulders with the likes of Eric Bischoff, I'm always all about that because he's one of my all-time favorite characters of all time in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Especially when he puts on that karate suit.
Fuck yes. Him and Bruce Pritchard's ass are fucking,
Yeah.
8-time karate Hall of Famers,
Yeah,
whatever.
brother love, man. Talking about brother love, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother love.
Which, I mean, speaking of it, unfortunately, the Pritchard family just lost, Bruce and Dr. Tom and the rest of the family, they lost their brother. That just came
Oh,
through the news. I mean, I think, Bruce has put it out there, so that's where it's coming from. So just sending healing to the Pritchard family.
that sucks.
Yeah, it
That
does.
sucks.
But what doesn't suck is our the good sister Itakia Pal says, "Hi, hey, how are you guys? I'm always here as always. What up, guys? It's your girl
What's
Miss
up,
Takia.
Takia? That's
Yeah,
right.
man. We
That's
uh
right.
we have to do kind of how do you say, like a outing, like a reunioning of sorts of all
That's
of
right.
the folks here at Voodoo in the Woods, because you guys come out in full force. We need to do something. I don't know what we'll do, but we're gonna do something.
We'll figure something out.
Heck yes. And she says, Voodoo, I like the sweater.
Yeah, we roll on this side. If you understand, we roll on this side.
Yeah, the side that I roll
Yeah.
on. Literally, the side that I roll on is the one that I roll right off the fucking bed on. So
That's right. So if you like to run track, look it up. www. We roll on this side. You know what I'm saying? Hit up my boy Trelly. Yeah.
there it is. There it
Yeah.
is. Plug. And Fight Life Nation, the good brother. Hey guys, I think it's so dope you're working with Eric Bischoff. Bro, I don't even know how that happened. So just saying. A major part to Steve Kaufman, Christy Olson. But again, I don't know. But he was a big part of my childhood entertainment. No, 100%. I'm a
Me
WCW
too.
guy, right? Like, that shit. Fucking Lex Luger, Torture Rack, the fucking Luchadors, the NWO. Come on,
Monday
Bischoff.
Night Wars. Oh my
Yes,
God. Come
dude,
on.
that fucking legend, that guy. So, like, I there have been times where if you look at it, it's just like I'm looking at him going like, are you really real? Like, you're real? Like the guy that I played on the video games and watched on the TV, and my mom had a crush on, and my mom, and it was kind of crazy because on the anniversary of my mom's passing, this past year, I got to tell him because we did a show that day, and it was I, my mom actually skipped, well, paid rent late. So myself, my sister, and one of my friends could go to a WCW live event at the Forum in Inglewood. And I got to tell him that on the anniversary of his death while he's doing my podcast. Again, doesn't even make sense to me. Dreams are real, dreams are happening. and we're gonna see a whole lot of dreams this coming Saturday,
Mm. All day, all day. I
right?
mean, I mean, talk about someone who earned and deserves an opportunity at the a chance to run for the title or take part in a championship match. OG Bobby Green, stepping up on 10 days notice and making it happen, cutting about 25 pounds. Wow,
Yeah,
it is what it is, man. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And OG Bobby Green is doing that OG thing, that gangster thing. He's making it happen.
yeah. Which our good friend Jamal Harris said. Speaking of gangster, I yeah, I mean Bobby Green is a particular gang affiliation, which is not being talked about. I don't know even if we should talk about it here. I don't know what the hell. But I was just like, okay, that took the feel good out of the feel good story for me. I don't know. I don't know. But then, like, it's Snoop had on his attire for the Super Bowl, right? So I guess, yeah, I'm just, I don't know. Yeah. And yeah, Takeda says I see, and she just wants a sweater. So there you go. Hit up Trelly. Hit up Trelly.
Hit up
Shout out,
Trelly.
yeah, shout out to Trelly. But speaking of shouting out, we have a battle of the nearly undefeated flyweights, right? Because we have Mexico's own Victor El Magnifico
Hmm.
Alta Mariano, who is 10-1, right? Training not, it doesn't look like he trains at the Entrum gym. Don't want to make that assumption that every fighter from Mexico just fights out of the Entrum gym in
Hmm.
Tijuana, but
Hmm.
you can make a case that there's been a lot of Mexico's prominence in MMA because of that gym.
Hmm.
Namely
Hmm.
former UFC flyweight champion Brandon Assassin Baby Moreno and countless others. They've got people in Combate. There's a gal with the short hair. I can't think of her name, but she's like a single mom out of TJ and what have you. I think she's gonna be one to watch. She's got her own, like social media game. I can't think of her name, but anywho,
Hmm.
um, Alta Mario, right? Not Malta Mario. It's
Hmm.
me Mario. Not that gent. Another gent. He's actually making his UFC debut after headlining LFA 100. That's a benchmark show, 100 incarnations of LFA. He actually headlined that and beat uh, Nate Smith via unanimous decision to claim the LFA flyweight championship. So here's a former LFA flyweight champion, just like Jimmy Flick, the Brick. Um,
Hmm.
and he's making his UFC debut after literally a split decision win over Carlos Candelario on
Hmm.
Dana White's Contender Series back in August of 2021, right? So
Yeah.
here he is. He's basically coming into the UFC as a newbie, but he's got Carlos Hernandez, who is a champion of another promotion in his own right, another LFA veteran who actually beat Trevor Wells. Trevor
Hmm.
Wells, who's a former California state champion, a former Epic Fighting down there in San Diego, amateur champion, and training. Trevor trains out of none other than what is it? Team Quest out in Temecula, California,
Hmm. Hmm.
under Dan Henderson and formerly Smiling Sam Alvey and a litany of others, right? So that's saying something to me, right? But
Yeah.
um, Hernandez also a LFA veteran, competing at LFA 93 with a unanimous decision over one Trevor Wells.
Hmm.
So godly. Because I've seen Trevor Wells in person doing action. Um, when you have a win over Trevor Wells, a California state champion, a epic fighting uh, bantamweight champion, I, I'm going there. So I'm going Carlos Hernandez.
Um, it's a battle of grapplers, most definitely. As you look at their records, both individuals have won primarily by submission. However, Victor Altamirano has a few knockout wins. So there's some striking to his game. I believe Victor's uh, uh, grappling or submission game should nullify Carlos Hernandez's offensive prowess, and in turn use his hands to gain himself no less than a split decision victory. So I'll flip you a coin on that one and go Victor Altamirano.
I like it. I like it. And Fight Life Nation says Trevor Wells is fire. Nope, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And before we get to the second fight on the card, he also wants to know, hey guys, what are your thoughts on John Morgan? First question at the, being the first question at the press conference. And he was actually released by MMA Junkie. Personally, I don't think these journalists need major companies. And I mean, to a lesser degree myself, right? And then obviously you could go with arguably the greatest analysts, right, or journalists in the game right now, Luke Thomas, who he has his own channel, plus the stuff that he's doing with Showtime. Working with Brendan Schaub. I think it's Morning Combat is the show on Showtime, but he's doing phenomenally well, leaving a bigger, supposedly bigger entity. So John Morgan, for those who don't know, is somebody who oftentimes in recent years in the UFC gets the first question out of every press scrum. Dana White and everybody have mentioned him by name. Also, he does commentary for CFFC, Cage Fury Fighting Championships, with none other than CM Punk, right? So I think it's actually better for John Morgan because it's going to be that much harder. I know he has a young family, much like Luke Thomas, so he's going to put in more work that might take. He'll be working from home, but probably not home, right?
Mm.
As he's building up his own brand, because he's been synonymous with major MMA media sites. But then when you look at MMA media sites or publications or avenues, I don't care if it's Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, and then all of their sports, kind of conglomerates, right, or kind of subsidiaries, right? You're kind of losing viewership and everything to the internet anyway, right? So if you can beat it at the pass, and John Morgan opens up his own Substack, or does his YouTube or Twitch or Patreons or whatever, I think he will be fine. So shout out to John Morgan. I've encountered him a couple times. He's been pretty cool. He's pretty cool. I can't say that with one other prominent journalist. Hmm. But yeah, but it sucks that he's not there. But I think the future is brighter for him outside of even MMA Junkie.
I think John Morgan should look at this as a blessing in disguise. Um, he's put in so much work already that his name is known, and from here he can build his own platform. Where he goes, people will follow. As long as he's still able to get that press pass to get into these press conferences, the saga will continue, and he will still get the respect that he's already gotten. I know MMA Junkie was a major push behind him, but I think he's gotten enough momentum now such that he can go ahead and continue to build upon the momentum that he's already built working for MMA Junkie, and move on to his own personal thing. And he needs to move on now and do his own thing. He needs to start building his own platform, like we tell these fighters. Same thing goes for these uh, journalists as well. You don't necessarily need, like you said, Fight Live Nation. You don't necessarily need a made company, especially when your face is already known. See, the reason why people need these major companies is to have a platform in which they can bounce and be recognized. Now we recognize him. We're using his name in his podcast, John Morgan. He is known now. We're not saying MMA junkies John Morgan. We're just saying John Morgan. So therefore, it is his duty as a man to push forward.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better myself. So just all the love and thank you. Not that we're he's ending, but this definitely crossroads in his career,
Mhm.
which I think we
Yeah,
both think he'll come out on the better side of this,
of
and
course.
I mean, heck, we've gone from even Luke Thomas, right? And Luke Thomas for, like John Jones, and that name hasn't been in the news lately, right? John Jones isn't in the news at all.
Nah,
But John
who's
Jones
that?
was like, yeah, right, exactly. But John Jones was like, hey, Luke, I'm not talking to you. Like literally called him out by name, and he's gotten to a point where, hey, guess what? He doesn't he doesn't even need the interviews anymore of fighters. He could just talk about the fights, his
Yep.
pros and cons. He doesn't even need those press passes. He's fine right in his living room or wherever he shoots his show. So,
Hmm.
uh, kudos to John Morgan and a lot of the guys and girls that are trudging, and fighting the good fight. There are many of them. Some people do it for clout, but a large majority do it for the love of the game. So I think he'll be just fine. But speaking of love of the game, we have in the 170-pound division, we have Ramiz Bahamaj, right?
Hmm.
9-4 against Michael Gilmore. I will go on the side of Gilmore first. The gentleman, again, is 6-4 coming into this fight. Uh, he is probably most notable for being a competitor on the Ultimate Fighter this most recent season, the season 29 comeback of the Ultimate Fighter, where he beats Gilbert Urbina, right? And Urbina, he's one of three brothers that all made it to the UFC, and Gilbert is the youngest of the three, right? And then actually, in his UFC debut in August of 2021. That is literally 3 months after his loss to Urbina in the Ultimate Fighter. He fights another Ultimate Fighter alumnus in Andre Petrosky, which he also loses by KO. So he's been finished both times that he's been in a perceivable UFC octagon. So hopefully he comes up a little bit better. But on the other side of the docket, we have Ramiz, right? And Ramiz 9-4. Uh, I don't want to jump the gun, but I think this is my favorite to win. He lost to Court McGee, right? But I mean, Court McGee is a beast. That fight just happening last month, right? Win over Sasha Palanikov, which is not his UFC debut, but his second fight in the UFC, and then his first fight in the UFC, losing to Max Payne Griffin. Also has a win over Carlos Martinez in LFA, the undercard of uh, Kinney versus Vince Cachero.
Cheryl.
Right, absolutely. So I'm actually going to go with Ramiz on this one, and it's a rough deal, right, for Gilmore, right, because he is
He's
0
coming
and
from middleweight.
yeah, and he's 0-2, in
Hmm.
terms of the UFC audience, right? Losing to Urbina. I don't even think he makes it to the into the house. I think he loses to Gilbert Urbina before they even get into the house.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah. That's this is an interesting one, but simply because um, Ramiz is a natural 170 pounder. His opponent is coming down from middleweight. That means an extra 15 pounds of weight cut. He might make it. He might make it. He might make weight, but it's going to be a tough adjustment, especially it seems like his first one down. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, so he figures, if he goes down, he'll be a bigger body. and he'll be able to perhaps impose his will a lot easier on the lighter fella. But it is what it is. Uh, the advantage goes to Ramiz in this case. They're both somewhat evenly matched skill wise, even though one has more fight than the other. I don't really believe this is going to be an issue. They both have 4 losses, so I see them as damn near evenly matched. However, that weight cut is major, major, major. I'm also gonna go with you, man. I'm going with that Ramis fella.
Yeah, and I,
Yeah.
I I don't think there's going to be a knockout or a submission or what have you. I think it's
Hmm.
probably going to be a unanimous decision. That
Yes,
feels about right to me.
I'm not
So
mad at it.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm sorry for the gentleman here, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, And I
Yeah.
hope Michael Gilmore will be able to, to recapture, a little bit of the luster of his career. What made the UFC kind of take a look at him in the first place. So there you go. But my goodness, we have in the third fight, 22 at 8-1's Alejandro
Hmm.
Perez, right?
Hmm.
Going up against
Hmm.
Jonathan Martinez. And Perez, or better known as Turbo, actually trains out of that Entrum gym in Tijuana that I was talking about, right? He
Yeah.
loses his. Actually, he's been in the UFC for quite a while. We're going
Mm.
way back. He is a veteran of the Ultimate Fighter Latin America Season 1, way back in 2014, right?
Hmm.
And then he's got wins over, man, Scott Jorgensen. You remember that gentleman, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with the
That's the fellow
vitiligo.
with the vertigo. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Has a unanimous. Actually, he went to a draw with Albert Morales, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Then beats Andre Sukumath via split decision. KOs Matt Lopez, Iri Alcantara.
Hmm.
Wins by unanimous decision. Even has a unanimous decision over Eddie Wineland, but then comes up short with a unanimous decision loss to Cody Stamen and Song Yadong, right?
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Dong Song.
Yadong Song, yeah. Um, but gets in his most recent outing in the octagon, basically best in Johnny Eduardo with the modified armbar. So he gets a
Mm.
finish after snapping his 0-2 fight losing streak, right? So on
Hmm.
the other side, we have Jonathan Martinez, and this gentleman, since from the jump, has win, lose, or draw has been exciting, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
gets, I mean, in his UFC debut, he loses to Andre Sukumath, but then beats the unanimous decision Buren Wulji, Wuliji. There you go.
Hmm.
Uh, then then KO's Pinyan Liu,
Yes.
loses to Andre Yule, right? Loses to Andre Yule, but then beats Frankie Sands by a spectacular flying knee. Uh, gets a unanimous decision over Thomas Almeida and gets KO'd by Davy Grant. And then Ziviad Laz Ish Vili, Jonathan Martinez beats that gentleman via unanimous decision. Man, this is a tough one. This is a flip a coin. So who you got?
I'll go with the Simpson character, man. I like his style. He's a dynamic striker, Jonathan Martinez. Alejandro's pretty good. No disrespect, but I'm into the style of Jonathan Martinez because he dares to push and reach for the future of the art, the future of striking. He dares to put himself on the line. So Jonathan Martinez is my guy.
No, yeah. I mean, I'd have to agree with you, but giving a little bit more context, Fight Life Nation, in his own words, thought that Alejandro actually lost to Albert Morales I thought Morales won that fight. The experience difference in that fight was so huge for a guy coming into a debut. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. But unfortunately, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, and you can
Yeah.
never guess what the judges are going to go with in terms of their decision making. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
black belts in jiu-jitsu literally favor people who KO people, and the other way around, people who KO people loving the submission. So
Mm.
I don't know, and state to state, commission to commission, it can be wacky, So I'm just saying, but yeah, so I I'm actually, you know what? I thought we were gonna flip a coin. I'm gonna go with you, Jonathan Martinez.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Who's next?
yeah. Who's next? We got Farah Zayam out of France, right? And France is in terms of French MMA has been going through. I can't even call it a resurgence because there was no pre-pandemic. There was no French MMA. You could
Yes.
do jiu-jitsu, you could do Muay Thai and kickboxing, but you couldn't do full-on MMA. But making good of it is Faraz Zaim and former UFC heavyweight interim champion in Cyril Gahn, right? But
Mm-hmm.
uh, Faraz Zaim 12-3, the smile killer, because I don't that doesn't even make sense. But uh beat
It's
I
French.
mean, yes, it is French. It is absolutely. At least it's not Bon Gamin, because whatever. Uh, but loses his UFC debut to Don Match via unanimous decision on the undercard of Habib and Poirier way back in Fight Island. No, actually, yeah, that was 20. No, that was pre-Fight Island. My bad. I don't know what the hell. But
No problem.
beats Jamie Malarkey via unanimous decision and beats Luigi Venderamini via majority decision. I don't know what a unanimous versus a majority decision means one way or another. I don't know. But he's going in there against Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney, 11-3, is T Rex, right?
Mm-hmm.
His name is Terrence and he Rex rules, man. Fighting out of Spokane, Washington. Actually has a win over friend of the show, Michael Izzieri Ortiz from Puerto
Mm-hmm.
Rico, right? And where he KOs Michael in the very first round. Then he beats Matt Frivola by KO as well. And then, that LFA 106 kind of stanza. Yeah, he kicks the head of Tonahino Cavino, right? So this dude is a knockout artist. That's why they call him T Rex, right?
Mm.
Um, I'm actually gonna go with T Rex on this one.
Me too,
KO.
man. I'm a big fan of T Rex. I'm a big fan of T Rex just because of his story, man. Dude almost died, changed his life around. Now he's a fighter in the UFC, man. I'm always gonna go for T Rex. Anytime he's fighting, I appreciate a success story such as this. You know, to almost die of a drug overdose to now look at him. You know, sky's the limit. Once you're focused, sky's the limit. And actually, the universe is the limit in this guy's case. So T Rex Terrence McKinney is my guy as well, man. Split decision, no problem.
Let's see, and it says, um, I like McKinney in this fight. His win over Frivola looks very good, right? Today after Frivola's win at UFC 270, and I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I'm going to go right along with you, gentlemen, and I'm going to go with T Rex as well. So, with that all being said, when do you think it happens? Does it matter? I say second
I
round.
see
That's
a
better.
split decision. I think it
You
goes off 12. I mean, off 15 minutes.
okay? I say second round. Second round
Uh,
KO.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, speaking of things that we're not mad at, we have the first female fight of the night in Josan Nunez 8-1 against Ramona Pascual.
Mm.
Pascual comes from a nation that whose flag I can't immediately recognize. Oh, Hong Kong. Okay, yeah, she's from Hong Kong. Shout out to Hong Kong. Ooh, maybe I don't want to get canceled. This is it. I mean, yeah, I mean they even got John Cena on that shit. He's like,
Yeah.
damn it, I
Hey,
recognize that.
they had that dude speaking Chinese like,
Yeah,
oh, Wong
hell
Feng,
yes.
I apologize. I am sorry that I said Hong Kong is a free state. Hong Kong is belongs to China. I apologize. Please do not mess with my money. Do not mess with my pocket. Oh man.
Oh, yes. That is exactly what happened. No, I mean, you might be paraphrasing it, but I like your version better. Uh, I'm just saying, Mario Yamasaki's right there. But the Hong Kong base and now training at a syndicate out of Las Vegas, Ramona Pascual has, I mean, she's an Invictor veteran. She's an Icon Fighting Federation veteran. She hit a key lock armbar on Guadalupe Guzman in the aforementioned Icon Fighting Federation 7. And her lone Invicta appearance comes at Invicta FC 45, where she
Yeah.
KOs Shamir Peshwa uh, in the very first round, right? So
Mhm,
that's pretty damn impressive, right? Two
mhm,
finishes, two
mhm.
different ways. But we got a tough Brazilian in the 8-1, Josie Nunez, right? Nunez, in her UFC debut, KOs Bia Malecki in the very first round with the overhand right. Uh, then at Force FC 1, she basically KOs Kezia Zabonik. That's what I'm going with. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. No, I mean, she is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight winning streak, and they're all KOs.
Mhm.
Holy
Mhm.
shit. Somebody's going to
Took
get
hands off.
knocked out. Somebody's going to get knocked out. You know, Pascal can do it both submissions, right? We modified key locks, and then, you know, Josanne Nunez essentially KOing 7 straight female athletes of MMA. Shit. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What
Yeah,
say you, Voodoo?
it's definitely a tough one because the Hong Kong lady is very skilled. Ramona is very skilled. She's a complete fighter. Let's just put it that way. She's got knockout wins, submission wins. She's gone the full distance. You know, uh, she's ready for whatever. And because of that, it makes it very, very difficult to be 100% sold on what Josie is bringing to the table, which is pure ferocity. I'm sure she's a Muay Thai base, and she's gonna bring it. She's gonna bring the tough kicks, the heavy hands. She's gonna bring all of that. You know, the one thing is she is on a 7-5 win streak, but Sicario MMA, Curitiba, Katana, Forez, and now UFC, one overhand right. I look down the list and I do not. I've never heard of any of these people except Tyler Santos. I've heard of Tyler Santos. Tyler Santos is a freak of nature. You know, she's currently on a 4-5 fight win streak right now. Her only loss was by split decision. And the only loss in the UFC was by split decision. And you know, ever since then, she's uh she's fixed things, and you know now she's bringing the heat. And Josie already lost to this person, so now it makes me think, what is Josie gonna do? Will she be able to handle this grappler? That's the ultimate question right there. Um, I'm gonna go on the limb and say Ramona Pascual wins this by control. It will go 15 minutes, but she will control the situation with with clinch, good clinch work, cage work. Put him on the ground, control him on the ground. Tap 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 type shot. Nothing too massive that would hurt Nunes, but I see her still in the rounds and winning by decision.
Yeah,
Ramona.
and I mean, Fight Life Nation says, yeah, how do you not take Nunes on this one? Nunes is a minus 200 favorite. That's a big favorite. Thank you for spelling
Hmm.
out to me because the gambling odds, I have no idea. I yeah,
Definitely a 200. The favorite. I mean, look, she's on a 5, 6, 7 fight win streak. She's looking real good right now. But now, welcome to the UFC. Welcome to an opposition that is worthy of facing you. Welcome to complete fighting. So let's
right.
see if her Muay Thai will be consistent.
Yeah, and that's my take too, right? Because how many of these athletes, right, of the 7 wins that Josie has are as tenured grapplers as Ramona Pascal, right? Pascal, I mean, modified key lock. I mean, a key lock already. You win by armbar, yeah, or knee bar or rear naked choke. That's usually when you win. You know, by those ways, via submission, people already assume, right? They can close their eyes. Oh, that person won by submission. Oh, they probably won one of those 3 ways, right? But I mean, a key lock armbar, that's a little bit of more dexterity, if you will, to a regular armbar, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why I say um Ramona's got more than a puncher's chance. I'd say, oh, you know what? You're gonna go with Ramona Pasquale. I feel
Uh-huh.
like I'm gonna take the silent vote of not so silent. Nobody's silent here, but Fight Life Nation says Josanne Nunez, and how do we not pick her? So I'm gonna go ahead and pick her because I know the good brother is. That makes
Hmm.
sense.
Sounds like a plan, man. Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's flip that coin.
let's go
Why
because
not?
everybody has not a price, but everybody has a say here, right here at Voodoo in the Woods, right?
Hmm.
But speaking of saying something, we have the 12-4 Ignacio Baramontes, and
Hmm.
his fighter nickname, his fighter moniker is La Jaula, and fans of Combate Americas, or at the very least, a casual affiliation with the Spanish language, right, will know that La Jaula means the cage in Espanol,
Hmm.
right? So I
Hmm.
mean, got a belt for this, right? At least in the eyes of himself and the coaches, right? But he he's a veteran of Fight League, fighting there at Lux Fight League 4. That is one of my favorite promotions. I just love it. The damn I believe they're based in Mexico, but they have golden gloves, literally golden gloves, right? I mean, it just looks super sleek, and the Lux Fight League belts is one of the best designed belts in all of I want to say sports and entertainment, but combat sports. Better than the WWE, better than the UFC. Paper plate, golden paper plate belt is what
Hmm.
I call it,
Hmm.
right?
Play,
But
play.
yeah, but has win over Javier Reyes Salcedo. Actually beat Chris Brown. Yeah, Chris Brown got beat. Not that one, not the Dancy, whatever, but a different Chris Brown. Um, Basically, Ignacio beat via split decision back at LFA 90. Um, Beat Edson Gomez with a front kick in the second round at Dana White Contender Series in November of 2020. Lost
Hmm.
to John McDessie. McDessie's a
Hmm.
tenured veteran and was supposed to fight last week, but that got pulled. And a win over Roosevelt Roberts. Do you remember that one? The wheel kick.
Yeah. Last 10
Jeez.
seconds of a fight.
Woo, buddy. That was like, woo, that was rough. That was rough, especially you and I have seen. I mean, you fought on a card with Roosevelt, didn't you? I want to
Yep,
say,
yep, yep, yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's a SoCal guy, who's fighting back here in SoCal. Um, so that's a pretty lofty name for Ignacio, right? But on the other hand of it, we have the 19-4 Zhu Rong, the
Hmm.
Chinese born and bred. Um, he beats Bidalaya, which sounds like a intestinal tract disease,
Hmm.
but apparently that's a fighter. That's a fighter, and that fighter gets KO'd by Zhu Rong. Man, I just want to see the headlines on that. Yeah, Bidalaya versus Zurong, or Zurong
Hmm.
versus Bidalaya. That's just fun. That's just fun because I'm not mature one iota. But hey, what's wrong with you? Why Zurong? Oh, because I got a case of the Bidalias. Sorry,
Hey,
I'm
this
so
this
mature.
this is my first candidate for fight of the night. These two are gonna go at it. I mean, Drew Wrong. He brings a pain. He brings a pain. He seeks to destroy every time. Ignacio is that guy. He's ready for whatever you're talking about. You want to go to war? Let's go. That's how Ignacio does things. He's a dynamic striker, as we previously expressed. Uh, he delivered a brutal whip kick knockout upon Roosevelt Roberts. Um, some of the best, some of the best dynamic striking you will see in today's mixed martial art. Ignacio is not one to be slept on. Uh, uh, Zhurong also is not one to be slept on, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But I gotta go with my boy Ignacio simply because he dares. He dares to strive and become a complete striker in all aspects of striking. You know, he's very comfortable and he's more than willing to try new things. And I love that. I love it. This is why I'm going for my boy Ignacio by whatever way he wants to win.
I'm not mad at that.
Right?
Because I must feel like, and nothing against you wrong. I
Hmm.
mean, I like him as a fighter, but something in me just believes that he's going to be a little bit. He's going to fight flat-footed. That's what I feel like he's going to fight flat-footed, and Ignacio is essentially going to figure out a way, or maybe many ways, to kind of get him off of his step. And
Hmm.
Zoo might not have. I don't want to say the aptitude, but he might not be able to figure out that puzzle. So I too am going with Ignacio, and I'd say maybe second round KO.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, speaking of, again, things that we're not mad at, because we are in the main card, we have Armen Petrosian, 6-1, fighting out of Russia. He's a Russian Armenian, is Superman, right?
Hmm.
Um, Jesus, there. That's with everything that's going on right now, to be a Russian, a Russian or a Russian Armenian or Ukrainian, it's a rough time. It's a rough time. So this is going to be emotionally charged. I feel, but a head kick knockout over Kaoyan Kolev at Dana White's Contender Series earns him his place on this particular card. Uh, Beat Alexander Zemalayov
Hmm.
via in 15 seconds of the very first round in his Coliseum MMA debut. Right,
Hmm.
he fights in like amazing named fight promotions pre UFC. The
Hmm.
WCSA Combat Ring 29. Yeah, who wouldn't want to fight in a combat ring? I wouldn't. Sultan Gulsadan did too, and he got KO'd by Armin for his troubles. Right. Uh, he I mean, Armin also fought at MMA festival. Man,
Hmm.
every Saturday that I get to watch fights. That's an MMA festival, but he actually fought on an MMA festival or a promotion named MMA Festival where he KOs Artur Aliskerov
Hmm.
in the second round, right? And
Hmm.
AMC Fight Nights, AMC to the moon, Fight Nights Global wins with a body kick in the second round, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
obviously Dana White's Contender Series head kick TKO, right? Because he finished off with ground strikes, right? So that's pretty
Hmm.
impressive for one Armin Petrosian. Uh,
Yes.
Now he's got a tough Brazilian in Robocop, Gregory Rodriguez, I should say, right? Rodriguez, LFA veteran, where he beat Al Montavo in the second round, KOs him. He has a win over Dusko Tudorovic, who you and I, Voodoo, are both fans of, right? And
Yep.
uh, he's a former LFA champion, winning the title over Josh Fremd back at LFA 108 in May of last year. So that,
Hmm.
and I mean, and it's not just related to MMA, right? Because he also has, I mean, his last time in the UFC octagon was a KO win, a standing KO win over Jun Yun Park, right?
Hmm.
That impressed
Hmm.
a lot of people, made the rounds of social media, right? But that's not
Hmm.
enough because he grapples Joe Selecki, another UFC veteran, at the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, and then beats Cody Steele via unanimous decision at the same event, right?
Hmm.
So just rounding out his complete and utter MMA dominance is Gregory Rodriguez. I'm going with the RoboCop on this one.
Okay. Okay. I'll split you on this one.
Okay.
And I'm splitting you simply because Gregory Rodriguez. Uh, he's a phenomenal grappler. Phenomenal. Chiseled like a African god. You know, very very talented. However, though he can strike, there is a lack of speed in his striking. There is a lack of snap. There is only push. And because of this, I believe he will lose. He will be a step behind his opponent the entire match. Armin Petrosian is a Muay Thai artist in which he will have very good speed in both his hands and feet. And he's just gonna pick Gregory apart the entire match. I see blood. There will be lots of blood. Um, there will be lots of cuts on Gregory, and eventually Gregory will be put out. No later than the second round, he will go to sleep. This is what I see for Gregory, and all this is simply because he lacks speed and he lacks snap. He is a very good grappler and he's very strong. If he's able to get a hold of Armin, then Armin's in trouble. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Armin is ready for this. He's seen this before. He's Russian. Takedown defense will be decent, right? So expect to see lots of elbows in the clinch, knees and elbows by Armin, and eventually TKOing or completely knocking out his opponent, Gregory Rodriguez.
Ooh, hot take. Ooh, you would have thought that Rodriguez was going toe to toe with Voodoo for his lunch money. Like that was, I mean, you didn't verbally eviscerate him, but like you gave RoboCop no chance of winning. My
Hey,
goodness,
and it's a very good way to open up the main card, by the way. So I'm looking
it
forward
is.
to fireworks in this particular one.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. But I mean, that is followed up. I mean, Armin isn't the only Armin on the card. He isn't the only Armenian gent in
Hmm.
on the card because we have Armin Sarukian, 17-2 against Joel Alvarez. Right
Hmm.
now,
Hmm.
Sarukian um, basically is a Tiger Muay Thai protege. The last time that we saw him in the octagon, where he KOs a good brother, the Spartan Christos Giagos. He does that
Mhm.
in the very first round with a left hook and finishes off with ground strikes for a TKO back in September of last year, right? He has
Yeah.
also a win over Matt Frivola, unanimous decision over Davi Ramos, unanimous decision win over Oliver Auburn Mercier, right? But loses to the headliner. One half of the headline of this particular card, Islam Makhachev, and that happens on UFC on ESPN Plus 7 back in 2019. Um, but as also a unanimous decision win over Junior Osansao, right? So there you go. Um, Jesus Christ. So we've got the 19 and 2 Joe El Fenomeno Alvarez. And we're fans of Alvarez and his past outings. And we've talked about him at length in the show. But he is on a 4 fight win streak after he lost to Damir Ismagulov, right? Back
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
2019 at on UFC on ESPN plus 3, right?
Mhm.
But uh kind of comes back and he beats Danilo Bellarardo
Mhm.
via TKO, uh, guillotine chokes Joe Duffy, then armbars Alexander Yankolev, right? And then standing KOs Thiago Moises. Ooh, buddy. I, man, I kind of wanted it to be a double win, yeah, back to back wins with the Armenian Armans in this
Mhm.
particular instance, but Jesus Louises, I got Joel Alvarez on this one.
Okay, I'll split you on this one. No problem.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay.
I don't believe I've ever seen an Armenian strike like Arman Sarukian strikes. He's uh he's as complete as it comes. He's as dynamic as they come. He's been in there with Islam Makhachev, and Islam dominated him for 15 minutes. However, though Islam dominated all the positions, he was never able to submit him. If Islam can't submit him, Joel Alvarez ain't gonna submit him. Joel Alvarez is in for the fight of his life, and I'm betting all my chips. I'm going all in on Arman Taryukian all day long.
Well, that's back to back wins for both Armens, both Armenian gents, and the only Armenian gents on the card. So uh, that's pretty notable, you know. Shout out to both of them and everyone on this card.
Definitely.
But speaking of on this card, we have the second and final female matchup on this card, which I think is going to be um, my pick for one of the fighter of the night or performance bonuses because we have Jin Yon Kim, 9-4-2 is Fire Fist, right? And Fire Fist actually on a 2 fight losing streak, but I still, what I saw of her on the undercard of the Whitaker Adesanya fight, not this
Mhm.
most recent one, but UFC 243, the first
Mhm.
fight.
Mhm.
Um, I saw something. I did, because she KOs Nadia Kasim, right?
Mhm.
Uh, gets a unanimous decision loss to Antonina Shevchenko, obviously the sister of one Valentina Shevchenko. But
Yep.
I mean, she beat Justin Kish, Melinda Fabian, um, Tao Lee, prior to coming into the UFC.
Mhm.
Loses to Lucy Padalova on her UFC debut, right? It's
Mhm.
but and then her most recent losses to Alexa Grasso via unanimous decision, as well as
Mhm.
Meatball Molly McCann via
Mhm.
unanimous decision as well. She is facing a tough Priscilla Cachoeira.
Mhm.
10-4 is Cachoeira, and
Mhm.
Cachoeira is vicious, man. She's zombie girl, but it's not so much for her being a zombie. I think she zombies her opponents. Now, mind you, losing to the champ, Valentina Shevchenko, right? Back in 2018. Also lost to Molly McCann via unanimous decision. Uh, another unanimous decision loss to
Mhm.
Luana Carolina, but
Mhm.
coming back and was on a two fight winning streak. Um, KO Shauna Dobson and then KO's Gina Mazzani, but losing to Julian Savage Robertson. So you
Mm.
gotta think both Jin Yong Kim and Castreda have something to prove. They are kind of uh, essentially brinking on a release theoretically speaking, right?
Mhm.
So Jesus, I think Castreda is has a little bit more killer instinct than Fire Fist.
Mhm.
That's why I'm going with Castreda. It could essentially be a I think it's going to go split decision.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Remember this Cachoeira? She was the one that engaged her opponent while she was being choked out. She reached back and started poking into the eyes of Julianne Robertson. I don't remember. I don't think. Do you remember that
Yeah,
happening?
100%.
Yeah, she caught some shit for that. I also remember Ji Yong Kim in a matchup against what's her name again? Alexa Grasso. Get him pieced up, pieced up, get him pieced up. But she kept coming. She kept coming forward. So this is gonna be a war of attrition. It's gonna be a war of attrition, and the toughest one will win. I'm more than willing to flip you a coin on this one because I have no horse in this race. So I go Ji Jong Kim to win this one by split decision.
I like it. And split decisions either way, you know,
Hmm.
which to me, I think it'll be a good fight, especially them positioning this fight, so high up. I mean, this is the the last fight before the co-main event, right? I think this is positioned right where it needs to be. But
Hmm.
speaking of, we are at the co-main events of the evening. We have Misha Kirkinov, who's 15-7, right? Is
Hmm.
Kirkinov going up against Wellington Turman, who is 17-5, is the prodigy. Now, looking at the prodigy, he is coming off of a split decision win over Smiling Sam Alvey. That was August of 2021, right? But
Hmm.
he was on a a losing streak prior to this, where he lost. Literally, two TKOs. Right, he gets
Hmm.
ground and pounded by Bruno Silva,
Yep.
and then Andrew Sanchez right cross ground and pound. Right, but
Yep.
before that, a win over Marcus Perez. So he's kind of all over the place, right, in terms of his UFC career.
Hmm.
Um, Now, still, that's I mean, when you beat Sam Alvey, a tenured veteran, that's saying something. That is a name that you need. Now, Misha Kirkinov, on the other hand, right, he is on a two-fight losing streak. That being against Ryan Spann, where he gets KO'd or TKO'd by Ryan Spann and loses a split decision to Christoph Jotko, right?
Hmm.
But prior to that, he beat Jimmy Crute by Peruvian necktie. He gets KO'd
Ooh.
by Johnny Walker, beats Patrick Cummings via arm triangle choke, right? Loses to Glover Teixeira, who's now the champion, and a former championship title contender in Volkan Ozdemir, right?
Hmm.
So just all over the place. And I would have to think if either of these two don't win, you got to think that with your kind of 50-50 records, and they're not complete 50-50. I don't want Scott Steiner with his math coming at me like, oh, really, it was 45 and 55. No,
Hmm.
no, but close to a 50-50 record. They're kind of up and down, especially in their last four fights specifically. And that's,
Hmm.
the relevancy of when they fight, I think, plays a lot into how they're going to fight in the most recent upcoming fight. So that's what I'm basing my kind of analysis on. So with that all being said, I these two are evenly matched. So I guess
I'll
are
flip you.
okay. So who you got?
Yeah, I'll take Wellington Turman.
Okay,
It don't
yeah,
matter. Yeah.
that's fair. Um, I then obviously I've got Misha. I think this is going to be a decision. This is going to go all 15 minutes,
I
all three
agree.
rounds. I think it's going to get bloody. I think it's going to get a little bit bloody. They're going to show the scars waking up on Sunday morning. They're not going to be. They're going to leave a little bit in the ring, right?
Mm-hmm,
In the
mm-hmm,
octagon rather, because
mm-hmm.
obviously this for records this size to co-main event a card, that's really lofty, right? And theoretically speaking, if they don't win and win big, guess what? This could be their only sniffing at a prominent role or prominent fight in their UFC careers.
That's true. That's true. Um, they're both prospects, even though they've had a few fights in the UFC. They remain at the prospect level to me because they haven't done anything to stand out, which is why they're 41 and 45 in the world. I mean, I'm not dissing their rankings, but at the same time, I'm simply stating their current status in the UFC and in the world. Misha is 41, Wellington is 45. Uh, this fight is not going to be anything near dynamic. It's either going to be extremely boring on the grappling side, where Misha is controlling Wellington on the ground and, rabbit punches, putting him on the fence, on the cage, and stealing rounds pretty much. You're not going to see anything intense or dynamic in this match. Wellington is decent. He's a decent Brazilian, but I haven't really seen anything that's wowed me from Wellington Thurman or Serkinov. So, which is why we're flipping a coin because I personally have nothing invested in this particular match, and I'm sure you would don't have anything invested in this particular matchup either.
Nope, nope. This is a kind of just throw it up in the air, and I hope
It is what it is.
whatever, yeah, whatever happens, whatever both gentlemen want to happen, and maybe they ride off into the sunset, especially as they're deep into their 40s. Now, obviously, you have a champion that is way into his mid 40s rather, uh, but Glover Teixeira is a different cat.
Right.
Where if Kirkenov and Turbin would have showed any hinting of a tenacity of Glover Teixeira, they would have shown it at this point already. So I'm just saying. But they can prove us wrong. Prove us wrong, gentlemen,
Most definitely.
and we will see. But
Yeah. Go get fight of the night.
yeah, 100%, 100%. But
Mm.
speaking of potentially fight of the night, definitely the main fight of the night, we are at the main events of the evening. We have Islam Makhachev against King Bobby Green, or as we like to call him, OG Bobby Green.
That's right.
Uh, I mean, statistically speaking, I think the best way to say it is statistically speaking, Islam Makhachev might be the perennial favorite, and the reason being is 21-1 is Makhachev's record. He's only tasted defeat one time in his professional MMA career, right? But Bobby Green, man, this is a dude that he was retired, he came back, fought literally 10 days ago, and he's back here
Hmm.
again fighting at a catch weight, you know. And considering the reason why Bobby Green came back, he wanted to, build a stable life and buy a house for his kids. That's an admirable deal. It kind of reminds me, well, I mean, his second run, I'm not saying his first one was bad because there's a reason why we know the name of Bobby Green, right? Bobby Green
Hmm.
in his first run, literally, he's in there with, I mean, some of the all time greats: Dustin Poirier, Edson
Yeah.
Barbosa, Josh
Yeah.
Thompson, James
Yeah.
Krause.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. He's, Lando Venata, Clay Guida, Francisco
Mm-hmm.
Trinaldo,
Mm-hmm.
Klaus, Thiago Moises, Rafael Fiziev. Well, Fiziev and Moises come in the latter part of his career, but
Mm-hmm.
in between, uh, I think he sits out 2 years between 2018 and then coming back. I think I guess you know what? It wasn't even 2 years because uh what is it? February no, I'm sorry. It was December 15, 2018, where he loses to Drakkar Close, right?
Yeah.
And then literally almost a year later. So I think that's when the sabbatical happened because almost a year later he comes back and loses to Francesco Trinaldo. Then he has a fight with Clay Guida, which is essentially a legends match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's Bobby Green. I
Mm-hmm.
Again, my heart wants to believe a, a crazy punch happens and Bobby Green KOs Makhachev, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Makes him taste defeat in a way that only one other person in his fighting career, that person being Andre, Adrino Martins, back at the UFC 192 undercard. And that was the headlined by Daniel Cormier and Alexander Gustafsson for the
Mm-hmm.
UFC light heavyweight title, right?
Mm-hmm.
But since then, nobody's been able to figure out the puzzle that is Islam Makhachev. And I want to believe it's going to be Bobby Green that figures it out. But
Mm-hmm.
I could be completely wrong. I'm voting for my heart, not anything. And that's nothing against Makhachev, but what this could mean for Bobby Green is astronomical versus it's just another win in the win column for Makhachev.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree as well. Um, right now, Makachev is very confident that he's already got this in the bag. I believe it's gonna come back and bite him in the ass. He's very confident. He in his press conference he expresses that OG Bobby Green doesn't have the wrestling to keep up with him, and I'm sure maybe he's right because them Dagestani man, them transition from position to position, having they grapple like they're playing chess, 5 to 10 moves ahead, beating the opponent before the opponent even thinks about making the move that they're thinking about. They're in your head. They feel your twitch, and once you twitch, they know exactly what kind of defense is necessary to shut you down. And this is what he does very well, and this is what Khabib Nurmagomedov also does very well. And it's their thing, For now, it's their thing. Makachev on paper is the favorite. He's got phenomenal grappling and very decent striking as well. I truly believe that Islam Makhachev is 100% better than Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yes, I said it. Khabib Nurmagomedov does not come near Islam Makhachev. Now, when we talk about that wrestling stuff, then no one compares to Nurmagomedov. However, when it comes to being a complete fighter, a complete mixed martial artist, Islam Makhachev far much superior and far more entertaining than his uncle Khabib Nurmagomedov. So therefore, on that note, I will be also be going for OG Bobby Green to knock the shit out of this Dagestani fella, knock him into next week, only because he's so overconfident and so sure he's gonna get the title shot after he beats OG Bobby Green. But I do not think so. I do not think so. I do not believe Allah is ready for him to win a title or get a title shot. Allah is ready for OG Bobby Green to take that mantle, throw on that cape, and go on to face Charles Oliveira and realize his dreams in the UFC. Become lightweight champion of the very world, of the mixed martial art world. OG mother effing Bobby Green. Surprise.
Right? Surprise. And you talked about the overconfidence of Makhachev. It's not like we haven't seen this before, right? And especially in a title situation, I think the most prominent one would be Luke Rockhold underestimating Michael Bisping. And
Yeah.
Michael Bisping essentially, this was UFC 199. I just happened to be there, and that's amazing. Now obviously this is happening at UFC Apex. We're not going to get the love, get the love of the crowd, but you know there's a lot on Bobby Green. On not only is he taking this 10-day turnaround, but after his last win he was like, hey, I grew up in foster care. Jacob Bainey of Pinnacle MMA out there in the Inland Empire, this is my father, right? And
Mm.
Bainey is behind uh, I mean, he's no stranger to championship gold because
Mhm.
uh, none other than Bellator champion, former Bellator champion Darren the Wolf Caldwell
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
out of Pinnacle, as
Mm.
is damn Jamal. Why am I forgetting his name? God, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
remember his name either.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yes, yet he's a friend of the he's a friend. He's a Jesus Christ. Why am I blanking on his name? But
Pinnacle.
Pinnacle MMA. It's Bobby Green, Jamal Emmers. There you go.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
shout
yeah,
out.
yeah. I remember that fella.
Yeah, shout out to Jamal Pretty Boy Emmers.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, uh, Willie
Wasn't
Gates.
he in the Ultimate Fighter house?
No, Jamal Emmers. The way that he came was it was he's headlined two LFAs.
Mhm.
He Well, obviously he was on the LFA 36, the undercard of S- Simone and Vinicius Zani.
Mhm.
Lost to Julian Erosa at the Dana White's Contender Series in 2018. Uh, Comes back to Smash Global 8 and
Mhm.
KO's Farad Mohammed, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Road to M1, he beats Kyle Machado, just all over the place. And then LFA 88, I'm sorry, LFA 81, and that was the last MMA fight I attended before pandemic. He headlined that against Rafael Barbosa, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So was that Rafael Barbosa? No, I'm making up. I just went into my MMA name. Yeah, it was
Mm.
Rafael Barbosa. I'm right.
Mhm.
Okay. And so that's Jamal Emmers, right? So he's
Yeah.
still there. These, they cross trained with CSW and Ben Jones, right?
Not a
So
bad idea.
no, not a bad idea at all. So what's his face? Kevin Holland is from there too.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of bad hombres, and I want to. I mean, obviously, you can't imagine the literal beast that come out of that Dagestani, Nurmagomedov camp and what have you. But I don't know. In my heart, I want Bobby Green to kind of pull it off, man.
Me
And
too. Me too.
Makachev, if he loses, will be fine. Will be fine.
Yep.
His
He
career
can
is
always
great.
come back. He's got
He can
time.
always come back, where
Mhm.
Bobby Green is literally on his last run. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
I would love for that to be littered in gold. So,
Mhm.
again, I could be completely wrong. Could be completely wrong, and
Yeah, of
statistics
course.
show,
There's a higher probability of us being wrong than right.
right.
But I'm still willing to go on that limb and go for OG Bobby Green, just because he's worthy.
Damn right. Damn right. And again, we have a lot of MMA coming up. We have like
Yeah.
KSW out in Russia, which I don't know, considering everything that's going on. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's still on the Tapology docket. We
Mhm.
have uh, we have Bellator in Ireland, uh,
Mhm.
which we're going to have none other than Gegard Mousasi defending his Bellator gold against none other than Mr. Paige Van Zandt. That's
Mhm.
Austin Vanderford, who has a
Mm-hmm.
horrible neck tattoo of an eye. It's just gross.
Mm.
I don't like it.
And one champion is starting an hour from now.
Yes, yeah, one championship an hour from now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've got
Bellator
and then we've also got
275.
LFA, where we have Loveth
Well,
Young fighting for the LFA strawweight
that's right.
title
In six
against
hours.
Jacqueline Armorin. So
That's
I mean,
right.
there's a lot of MMA. So we're gonna try and get back with you on Sunday sometime as we're going to wrap this week of MMA off. But also, if you guys are see fit and want to see this face in Ontario, California, well, there's a way to do that because we have MMA Events Inc. putting on a grappling competition, which I'll be doing interviews for at the Ontario Convention Center in Ontario, California. So definitely be there or be square or be
Yeah.
triangled or something odd.
Yeah.
That's it. But Voodoo, where can they find you, good sir?
Definitely on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, Snapchat, Twitter, right? Straight up all day, every day. Can't miss me. Like, share, and subscribe. Voodoo Maximus. Let's go.
Absolutely. And I'm According to Woods, and you can find me everywhere. Put it in the Google machine, put it on the Instagram machine, the Twitter machine, and the Bookface machine, anywhere you
Mm.
want to do it. Also, subscribe to this very podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Facebook and YouTube. Also on the bodyslam.net universe where
Yeah.
this is being simulcast. And if you
Yeah.
want to check out something cool, our recent interview with Voodoo's Gung Fu. You guys know him as Robert Hooks Jr. It's a
Check it out.
pretty interesting conversation that we have with that gent who came in from literally Germany. He was
Hmm.
through the interwebs, came through to us through in Germany. So that's a definite cat and miss on the
That's right.
Voodoo in the Woods channel. So until
Yeah.
Sunday, we will see you with more Voodoo in the Woods. Be good, be safe. Adios.